welcome back to the Stone Burner Open. I'm your host and commentator CJ, and today we are taking a look at Group R. And now Group R is full of a bunch of very, very good players. We have Rick Trolled in here, who is basically top of the Uprising leaderboard for a very long time. EV Bomb, who's featured in many of our videos and has done very well in our last tournament for the XMO send-off. Lannister, who is currently sitting at second place here at 11 points. EV Bomb at commanding 19 points, so definitely going through no matter what happens for him. But Lannister has a lot to play for here, as he's sitting just at 11 with one win. A second place would most likely send him through at least to the wild card, but a first place guarantees him access to the next round and not having to play the wild cards, which is always nice. OMANT and TTS PCM, however, are playing, and could be some spoilers here, at least spoil for Rick and PXNED or Pwned, who are sitting at 10 points. There are I think this is the last game of R, so this determines everything. So if OMANT ends up winning it, they go through to the next round. And with that, we are going to start. We'll get right to it. And hopefully they let me... There we go. They're just reloading the game. Back to the explanation. Taco Boy, pretty much out of it at this point, has played 4 games and lost all of them or not gotten first. So if TTS can win this, or OMANT can win this, they might sneak in with... just over B. Raffi and Lannister, perhaps. Depends on that. So let's see. And with that, we are off. We're going to go take a look at the Imperium row right now. The Imperium row has a bunch of okay cards. We have the Desert Survival, which is nice to have early if you want to cut your deck down, a Northern Watermaster. We have a treacherous maneuver. Oopsies. Thank you for the black. He's doing it at the speed of government, as we all are. Treacherous maneuver, which can be very good if you get enough Emperor influence. A subversive advisor, which is my pick for the best card in this group right here. And then dangerous rhetoric, which is close behind. Very strong. Both these cards will get you your extra influence when you need it. And you will need it. But I love Watermaster here. I think Watermaster might be the unsung card here to take a look at. And it might be one we'll see go early. So let's take a look at the picks. We have an Irulan in 4th position. We have a Lady Fenring in the 3rd position, which is very nice. And then we have, of the rest, a Fade. We have a Staban. I don't know about this row with Staban. Only if you end up getting the good stuff. Shaddam looks okay in this row. Amber, Matuli, and Jessica. We're probably going to see one of the first 3. I think a Carino would be great here in 2nd position. That'd be nice. And indeed, he picks this. This means that Carino's probably going to end up getting the Deep Desert first, because they tend to like to go for deliver supplies. Action 1, and we'll see a Fade route the Harkonnen in our 1st position, and the play is Diplo. Let me zoom in here so you all can see a little bit better, but I want to get their hands. There we go. All right, and the play was Diplomacy to Still, or Fremkit. Fremkit, of course, probably the best space on the board early. It gives you your access points or half point and drawing a card, which helps you buy stuff. And then, as we saw, as predicted, Carino is going to head over and get some water from Deliver Supplies, looking at that Deep Desert a couple of rounds down the row. And what do we see here from Margot? Margot's going into combat. Usually 3rd and 4th position are best to fight over combat, and it's the 1st and 2nd position who need to figure out who's limping in. But on this hand, on this draw, what we see is a very interesting no daggers. So next round is going to be favoring Fade because they'll have double daggers and be able to go last, which is interesting. So we'll have Irulan seek allying up to dutiful service, which makes sense. She, of course, wants to get 2 spaces on that track so that she can get an extra influence or intrigue card for free, which is always nice. And now what is Fade going to do here? With both of his access cards in his hand, he's going to hit up secrets, finds a Depart for Arrakis, which will come in handy later on, no doubt. Very strong card to have in your arsenal. And it'll probably be fine with just taking this third place combat with one spice. Halfway to Departing for Arrakis. I always thought this is a funny card because Departing for Arrakis, haven't they already done that? We're already halfway through the book at this point. Anyway, moving on. We have a Dune Desert Planet. Dune Desert Planet is heading over to Imperial Basin? Imperial Basin, indeed, to get the extra spice. So Carino is loading up on spice. I like this play instead of hitting up the Haga Basin for the extra spice. The reason is you really want the third water for round number 2 or 3, depending on what comes out. But because there's no water, and in this combat, it is fairly good play from Carino to hit this one up. I should probably mention now that Lannister is sitting in 4th position with Irulan. TTS PCM is sitting in 3rd position with Margot. So if Margot goes combat with that does hamper a little bit of Lannister's plans as he's often a combat player. Rick in 1st position here. He's definitely going to be one of the ones to beat here. He's already off to a good start. And Lannister actually had opted, and I missed this, I apologize, had opted not to go into combat, but instead to grab the Arakeen contract with the spy and the troop. So setting up for later on, not really concerned about this extra bump. We'll see how that works out. I think it's a very smart play to let people fight over things and get kind of like more rewards later on, the better rewards. The first round rewards, especially for Lannister here, he does not have a matching symbol for this combat, so it actually doesn't entice him too much. So letting the other people fight over it is fine. Of course, that would give Margot round 2 hooks, but I think that round 2 hooks is kind of falling out of favor a little bit in the meta. I think that that's something that when we first started playing this game, getting hooks right away had been the thing to do, right? That's the thing that you want to do right away, is get all the hooks, get your hooks, and then block people from getting hooks, because if you have worms, no one else does, right? But it's going to be double contracts for Lannister. High Council contract, who I think that I can't believe he actually took this one, interestingly. Instead of like a research station, the Highlanders show up. That's interesting. A reveal for 6 picks up a treacherous maneuver for Fade. This is one of the reasons I was saying that this might have been a good Staban row, because there are some pretty decent access cards here, and this one plays off of the spy anyway. Would have been a great pickup for a 1st position Staban. Now a 5 buy for OMANT. OMANT's sitting here with the Carino. I love any of the spy cards here. I've been playing in high places a lot and doing very poorly with it, so I think maybe it's a poison pill for me. But I would have probably taken the Subversive Advisor here. Having the extra ability to just jump up the track as fast as possible is nice. Since you're going to be doing that anyway, and you can try to get 2 alliances as Shaddam, and that's not too hard. TTS PCM is going to reveal for a dagger, which is inconsequential, and 3 persuasion. And luckily for him, this dangerous rhetoric is still in the row. So everyone kind of gearing up for a lot of track climbing, but Lannister says, no thank you, I would love the Shishakli instead, and I'm going to go combat and try to crush you fools in the desert. And just as I say that, Overthrow shows up, so maybe there is some merit to high persuasion, and it might favor the person who doesn't have all their persuasion this round. So we'll see how this goes. There is also, by the way, a Reliable Informant. Very strong card in the row here. I think, especially if you're Staban or any of the other spy leaders really wants this, or if you find like a guild spy. But there are a lot of very powerful cards here now. Reliable Informant and Subversive Advisor, nice combo. Overthrow just good by itself. Northern Watermaster, there's no support for yet, but it is just nice to have. And our first action we're going to see in round 2, by the way, we have a Siege of Arakeen here. This is a Thopter combat. No worms this combat, so worms are completely useless. Diplo over to get the water. So 3 water here for Carino. This is totally expected. It's a very common main line for Carino. If you're in 2nd position, even in 3rd position, you can usually get it. Sometimes it gets blocked, but 2nd position, it's a main line. And then we have Margot, who probably just going to go get their hooks first, or could block Fremkit first and then go get their hooks, which I don't dislike either. I kind of actually like that better. She could also go secrets if secrets is their thing. Nope. Okay, blocking Fremkit makes a lot of sense. This is the double block here, so they're going to block, make it a lot harder for the opponents to get the level 2 on the Fremen track, so that they can get their hooks way later. So Margo looking to play a really strong worm game here. Hopefully they get some payoff cards for that. Lannister heads over to Arakeen and trashes and draws 2 cards, which is setting them back up for this wonderful overthrow, perhaps, or a subversive advisor. They have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persuasion at the moment, which is very strong. Not quite enough to get there. And not enough water to hit up a research station. So, kind of stuck on 7. No ring in hand. They can't pull a 1 cost card from the row. And here's the round 2 block of Haga Basin. Very smart play. Someone has to block round 2 Haga Basin so that the 3rd position player doesn't get, usually, or the next person who goes to Haga Basin doesn't get extra spice. So, and worms. So Fade Ratha doing a very good job throwing in here. Still has the last action this round, so might actually try to win this one. I don't know if it's that necessary. Second place is better for them. Shaddam heads over to just refine some spice. This is totally fine. Is going to use the 1 spice for 4 to go up to 5. Looking to get their Swordmaster as soon as possible. It is a shame they won't be able to throw anything into this combat because they use their ring. And when you use your ring as Shaddam, you are not able to deploy any units that turn. But they are now restocked for the next couple rounds, which is nice. So, Lady Margot Fenring now. TTS is thinking about, what is he thinking about? 2, 3, 4, 5. Thinking about maybe playing this dagger to get an intrigue card, or maybe just to go get some spice. They're a little behind at the gun here because they're going to have 1 access to yellow next round and 1 access to blue. So that's a little bit concerning, mainly because it's only their ring. I don't think they picked up a blue. No, they picked up a green and it's a green spy card. So that's the only other option if they had a spy. They do have a spy at Arakeen though, so that's nice. All right, heading over to Siege Tabor, getting their hooks. Makes sense. Not going to throw anything else in here. Going to hope this is enough, and it probably will be. Unless Fade decides they really want to pull spy. Lannister heads over to Haga Basin. Heads over to another contract, accepting another contract, and picks up Research Station, another way to get your Solari. One thing to note is that if you can't get Solari the traditional way, you're going to have to do it some other way. And because there was some Solari in the contract row, you don't need to really hit up Refinery to get what you want. And this would be a very good one for Lanny to get, right? Because he's going to get the Solari from the combat, supposing he wins it, and then troops back, and then he could potentially hit up the Research Station next round. So he is poised to do that. Reveal for OMANT just reveals 2 daggers and 1 persuasion for nothing, and then TTS PCM is deciding on what he wants to do, and that catches us back up. They're playing very fast, and I am trying to speak as fast as possible. What is going to be the pickup here for 4? I think Watermaster or the Reliable Informant are what I would choose, but I'm not going to sway them. Let's see what they're going to do. It's one of these 3, right? Or it could potentially be a Prepare the Way. And I think Prepare the Way is fine as well. They don't have their first bump on BG, so it's not great. It's going to be a Watermaster. And I think this is a nice way to stay in the worm game, and you're going to need that if you're going to deploy a lot of worms. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, right, because he drew with the contract. So we see an early overthrow, a round 2 overthrow from Lanny. Lanny just not fooling around, and he picks up a Call to Arms off the back of that overthrow. Not the best card to pick up, but it's fine. And a reliable informant for Fade. Now, I think you probably are thinking, well, Lannister seems like the clear person in the lead, but it is far too early to tell. There is now a steersman in the row. There's a Beast Spoils for all the battle combats, and more Truth Trance, more access cards, so it is looking like a very active row. Lanny takes it down, and second place goes to Margot. Round number 3, we have Chom Security. This is a very good combat. I think if you're going for contracts, it's very good, but just generally, you don't want to hit up the Spacing Guild all that much unless you're going for the Alliance. The second place here is kind of insane if you can double it, so we might see Margot try to limp in and get second place here. That might throw combat to Shaddam, maybe? Shaddam's not really set up for that. But action is on Margot. And we'll see what they do here. Probably wishing they had 1 spice. If they had 1 spice, they could get their Swordmaster this round. So perhaps that's what the plan is. Go get spice. This is the first real decision that Margot's had to make. Everything else so far, and for most of the players, I'd say, except maybe Lanny, he's got his own strategy that definitely does not fit into the normal thing you'd see people do, but that works for him very well. I'd say that this is the first decision for Margot in the game, and it might be one of the more important ones. Do they go get spice right now, setting up for Swordmaster, because they have a path there for the next round? Do they hit contracts? Because there is a very, very strong couple contracts here. There's a Spice Refinery, is one of the strongest contracts in the game, and Highliner, Wetliner, sometimes people call it, is in the row as well. It looks like it's going to be Worms, so we're going straight Worms. We're going to try to double this combat. I think this is also a wise decision. You don't know that it's going to get blocked for you, and you could always, like, I guess that's the big problem. You don't know it's going to be blocked. So, and then putting it on Siege Tabor, that's an interesting choice. So putting the spy back on Siege Tabor, and there's another contract for Lanny, Spice Refinery. Collect all the contracts, get ahead that way. It really does work, especially if you get all the best contracts. There's another one of the best contracts, in my opinion, the Acquire Spice Must Flow. Get a bump with the Spacing Guild and $3. 2 through 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 for Lanny in his Persuasion. So he might be actually looking to hit the Steersman as well. If he gets both Steersman and Overthrow, I think we can just stop right here. I'm just kidding. Let's see what Rick does in response. He went to Sardaukar to restock his troops, get an intrigue. He's trying to win on the intrigue game. So Weird in Combat, Counselor's Ambition. Counselor's Ambition not going to help right now, but Weird in Combat, he's not too far away from having the 5 swords on that, so that's pretty strong. And Shaddam, we're conning to Arakeen, also trying to, I believe, hit this Steersman. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Persuasion and a dagger. It's a little far away from that. Not quite going to get there. If they hit a 2 Persuasion card off the Arakeen draw, they could have gotten there. Now Margot has a couple of good options here. Margot has their Diplo, of course, and their Dangerous Rhetoric. So the Dangerous Rhetoric could be played. They kind of want to play that to a value space like Swordmaster. So they kind of don't want to do this right now. But because they are a little I was just going to say, they're kind of like priced into doing this because that's what they set up for. Okay, so we're going to go to Siege Tabor. And below the wall, looks like. Nope, not blowing the wall. Wants to get first place here. Actually, that's interesting. I would have probably not done this. I would have like welcomed the second place. I don't know if they're worried about Fade coming in and just taking second place away. But second place is better. Most cases. Although the block here, pardon me, the block here is to keep Carino off of the extra icon for a point. Actions on Lanny, and he hits. Oh, that's unfortunate. He ends up going to Spice Refinery, using his contract with his ring. But he finds the overthrow, so he will be able to purchase this steersman as well. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or Spice Missile if he really wants it. So he even has the luxury of ditching a recon and buying this steersman. This might be kind of a crazy game here, guys. We're going to see a masterclass of how to manage your persuasion, which I think is something that Lannister does very well. It is something that I try to aspire to and fail miserably at. So a second place looks good enough for, or third place looks good enough for Fade. They're going to see what happens with Carino. I know a lot of people call him Shaddam, but I'm kind of tired of calling him Shaddam. And here's a Diplo. Diplo to Espionage. Interesting. Finds a ring, which is not necessarily what you would have liked to find. He's pushing his luck here a little bit, because if yellow does end up getting second place here, they're going to have enough water to take Deep Desert away from Shaddam, perhaps. No, they won't. They'll be out of position. That is my mistake. They should have it. Unless somehow Lannister gets 2 water, which I don't see happening. Okay. Was deciding where to put his spy, I guess. TTS PCM reveals for 3 persuasion. Unfortunately, has to reveal their Diplo again. It's kind of like shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, but they don't have a lot of choice here. What are they looking at? So looking at the cargo runner. Are they just taking the cargo runner to keep it away from Lanny? That seems like a bad idea. They only have 3, so maybe... Uh-oh, we got disconnected. Alright, so as a recap, we are in round 3. This combat is about to resolve. Subversive Advisor was a pickup for Fade, which is... Okay, we're going to see... Wow, so this would have been enough for Steersman. Unfortunately, it's just a little late. There is, however, a Constellation Stilgar, which might be good enough. Or there's a Bene Gesserit Operative. Can he get both? 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He sure can. He can get both of them. And that would probably be the rest of... That'd be it for the rest of the game if I were just buying stuff. Don't think you really want more than that. Okay, so we see BGO and probably Stilgar. Constellation Stilgar. Well done. And on to combat. So combat is going to resolve unless Fade wants to push out OMANT, but will not do so. Highlander contract taken by TTS PCM, which seems very nice here. What's the other one? The other one's going to be Acquire, and reveals just a bunch of Solari, which is good for everyone else. Extra contingency plan for Fade Rautha. Also very good. And not much for Lanny, unfortunately, but his also Consolation Steersman, I think, does enough. See what he finds. Steersman and Overthrow. Wow, what a hand. What a hand. Now the question is, what is he going to do with it here? He needs to get his Swordmaster eventually. I guess he potentially doesn't have to do his Swordmaster. It's Spice. Spice trashing convincing. Okay. That seems pretty nice. Drawing a card. And he picks up Diplomacy, so he's got a lot of options here. Probably not going to play this Diplomacy. I would imagine. And we see for Fade. Now, a couple of options. Well, no, I guess just one option. Let's go get some water. Stay relevant in the combat, and also get all the spies. So, spies aplenty. Maybe looking at, hopefully getting something that rewards the spies. I don't think he has anything that rewards spies. Let me see. Come on, mouse, what are you doing? Apparently it's not working. Well, that's okay. Maybe they removed that ability, but I'm not able to like zoom in and look at stuff anymore. All right, no problem. I think this was a very good pickup for Rick. We're see Dune the Desert Planet to get some contracts, maybe. I don't know if Shaddam needs to be this greedy. Shaddam's being pretty greedy right here. And not just like hitting up Deep Desert. Pretty greedy. They do have their Stilgar in hand, so that's good. Margot's deciding between a couple of things here. Are they going to research station, getting a water back, or are they going to try to get their Swordmaster this round? But they're kind of giving up on their Swordmaster. It looks like they're just going to keep blocking Siege Tabor. That's been the plan for a couple of rounds. Put a spy on the space between Siege Tabor and research station. Monopolize Siege Tabor. Don't let anyone else get worms. This is a great worm combat, but they got no spice. So now, interestingly enough, we're going to see Shaddam forced into going to Deep Desert. And here is a Steersman for Lanny. Steersman going to get his Swordmaster, of course. Steersman getting the money to get the Swordmaster. Drawing his ring. It's going to be a very strong turn for Lannister. Very, very strong turn. He's setting up for a research station, probably around 6 or 5 or 6. We'll see what happens here. He just throws one troop in, which is interesting. He seems to be wanting to keep 2 just in reserve at all times, just in case. So this is not a very good combat for him either, because he'd have all the different symbols, and none of them would be matching. It's only good for the right side of the table here for Carino and for Margot, which, I mean, you really don't want Margot to get another point here. That puts them up to 6, and they are far in the lead. I say that Lanny has easily the best deck, but that doesn't mean you're going to win the game. You do need to hammer on these tracks and win some combats. So we'll see what happens here. So it's going to be Ring. Fortunately, he did draw his Ring, though. Otherwise, he would not have been able to get Swordmaster this round. It is going to be Stilgar, and it does look like OMANT is pushing in here. Really wants this combat. This is a perfect combat for him. Perfect combat. Adds an extra one. Puts it back. Sometimes these things are hard to grab. There we go. Alrighty. Margot's going to head over to Research Station. Makes a lot of sense. After Deep Desert is gone. Is there something to buy here? I mean, why draw? I guess he just wants to draw some stuff. Ring, Diplo. Okay, Ring and Diplo, those are both good. Margot is certainly the favorite, I think, at this point, despite Lannister's pretty commanding deck. His amazing deck. Fade, trying to find a footing here. Will get something. I mean, obviously, Rick knows what they're doing, and you don't have to rush. So one thing to note is that Margot does have enough points right now to be considered the threat, and sometimes that's enough to turn the table against that person. Shaddam has no more actions and no intrigues. So what does this mean for the rest of the table? It's probably just that we're going to see yellow getting there. We could see... well, yeah, I guess that's it. Fade trying to play spoiler for second place, but is going to get third. Unless they play their combat card, which they might do here. I actually can see Fade playing this combat card. If they've been tracking how many daggers Margot has. 4 things in here could both be in there, and then all he would need to do is have the 3 daggers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 persuasion. Unfortunately, just 8. A 9 would have been pretty amazing for Margot. But alas, we're at 8. And so the question remains, you just get more access cards. Do you get things that help you fight better? What are you doing here? It looks like it might be a Chani. Chani's very good. Chani is good when you have troops, not so good when you don't have troops. So it could be like Desert Power here. They're looking at Desert Power. It's going to be a Desert Power. I think I like this better than the Chani. Lanny still has an action. It's going to be Overthrow. Plays Overthrow and Sears from the same turn. Must feel good. First point for Lannister. Reveals 4/4. Is any of this worth it? Beast Spoils. Okay, Beast Spoils it is. He does have 2 icons sitting there, and that might very well pay off. Rick is deciding whether to play a card now. It is in combat. And I think he is going to play because he sees that he could just win this. And I don't think he can let TTS PCM take it. He's thinking very hard about this. I think we're going to see him play it. I think we're going to see him play Weird in Combat. He's already paused way too long. Yep, okay, Weird in Combat it is. Takes it down. Pass, pass, pass. And that is going to be Rick's first combat. Very nice. Very nice. Denying the extra... the runaway Fremen from TTS, which is nice. Also denying the extra points from green, but they didn't have it. They didn't have enough combat strength that round, but it could have been bad. Here's a Shadow Contest, which is something Lannister might really enjoy. No one else has got a Thopter combat, so we're on round number 4. Round number 4. Dutiful Service for Fade, of course, the dutiful one. Trashing their copy of Informant. No, not Informant. Whatever the card's called. You know what I mean. Subversive Advisor. That's what it's called. Subversive Advisor. Action is on. Carino really wanting to figure out how they're going to generate points. They need to use this ring now. So I don't see I don't see a way for yellow to get 2 spice in order to block shipping right now. So you could do something else instead right away, such as Highliner, if you really wanted to. The other things you could do is hit up Sardaukar. Sardaukar would be nice. Swordmaster would be nice. Swordmaster seems like the most obvious play and probably is the thing they should do first, but not with that card. Not with that card, because then you cannot use... You can't go to shipping. Okay, they're going to do it this way. I guess that's fine. That's fine. I would be worried that Rick was holding 2 Solari in hand, though. That's a bit risky. They're going to get rewarded here. No one else actually has any way to punish them. And they'll get 2 bumps. Probably going to take it with Emperor. I think Emperor makes sense. Also, Fremen would make sense if you're planning on combating ever this game. You're going to need some worms. Don't technically need worms to win the game. Margot blocks Siege Tabor yet again. Or is thinking about it. And just gets troops. Not going to detonate. So much water. Going to be setting up for a double worm here, probably. That's going to be a little unfortunate for Lanny, who would like to win this combat very much so. But is going to get his overthrow on and is starting to creep up here. That's point number 3. Point number 3. Point number 2. He's... Oh, I see. TTS is asking if he could swap the bump from Emperor to Fremen instead. It's up to the table. Those are the rules. Everyone at the table must agree. Go for it. Yeah, it's fine. As long as he is forfeit. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right. So it turns out that OMANT did want to take that Fremen double bump instead of the Emperor. I don't know. I think either is fine. I think getting Fremen here is fine. You have to do all of them eventually. You're probably better off with the Emperor, to be quite honest, because then you have access to privilege. But, I mean, it is their choice, and if they allow... The table can allow takebacks. Anyway, moving on. Action is on Margot, who is going to put a worm in. And be happy with their life. Alrighty. Well, Lanny has found the beast's spoils. Does not have access to Highliner, but could throw in at a research station. Picking up a weirding woman. That'd get him up to 12. I would kind of force Margot to dump their water now. We'll see if that's what the plan is, but it is interesting. Oh, wow. Rick is just loaded with combat cards here. Wow, wow, wow. Find weakness and devour. Again, we are on round 5 and only one person has hooks. All players have access to Siege Tabor, but none of them have been able to get there. Lanny's going to be able to get there this round. So it definitely looks like Margot is going to be priced into going Deep Desert for 2 more worms, which is not something they really want to do. Because all Lanny would have to do is ring to Siege Tabor, and then Deep Desert with their Dune Desert planet. He does have 2 extra actions, so pretty big swings going on here. Rick has managed an Emperor alliance and is creeping up the others, maybe trying to fight for the Bene Gesserit. Probably, certainly going to fight for the Bene Gesserit, though he doesn't have a lot of Bene Gesserit access. Okay, here's BGO. And now all players, well, 3 of the players are sitting on level 2. Espionage, the play for Shaddam. Dutiful Service, Sardaukar is where the spy goes, which I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's got things where he already needs them. He's got one at shipping, and he's got one there now. And I guess the only one you want next is at privilege. Lanny decides to go to Dutiful Service. That is a little surprising to me. Is Rick blowing the wall? No. Is he blowing the wall? It's such a bad idea right now, where there's only one person with worms. But maybe he's got a plan. He doesn't have access to Siege Tabor next round. He's going to lose it. Lanny's given up this combat. He does not care, which is fine as well. This gets a point for TTS PCM, puts him at 6. And then everyone will be at level 2 of the Bene Gesserit track. I think there definitely was a path for Lanny to win this combat, but it might have just cost too much. And the restraint here is pretty massive. Arakeen. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to throw in... He's going to win this combat. No way. Massive. He's got to do a count. He's got to do one more. He's got to count. It's funny. All right. Pretty big swing here. No Fremen, however, so he doesn't get the bump with Shishakli. Shishakli's such a great card. So good. Is going to play Call to Arms. And he's going to play the other one too? No, probably not. He just likes keeping 2 guys in reserve, which is nice in the garrison. Going to combat. TTS PCM is an open book, so Lanny's going to take this one down. And that is a nice point. Putting him up to 6. And now Lannister's looking pretty dang scary. He has passed our leader. Gets a reach agreement for his troubles, which may not be the best thing. But every round, he is just finding his massive haymakers. Every round, overthrow and steersman. We do see an unrecovered asset for Fade, so Fade might be thinking about like taking over one of these spots that have otherwise been blocked to him. It is, however, Shaddam's turn to act with 4 spice, 7 Solari, and a Shaddam. A Constellation Shaddam. And Lenny did get his water from his contract. That was just what they were talking about. And these are the cards Lannister's going to play with. Nobody actually has played anything yet, but let's see. That's pretty funny. Weird thing going on in the background. I don't know. I think this mod is being a little funny lately. All right, we've got the Imperial Basin and a couple extra troops. Means that it's battle time. It's combat time for Carino. I think right now, besides Lannister, I actually think OMANT and Rick have the best chance of catching up. I think OMANT's Emperor ring is going to catch back up for a lot of this. It just depends on where he goes. Probably Spacing Guild, but Spacing Guild for the Alliance, or Emperor and then Privilege, which is a nice one. And the biggest problem here for yellow and red are that they do not have their sword masters. And I kind of attribute the sword master to about like 4 to 5 points. So if you can get up to 9 points without your sword master, you could have probably gotten to like 11, most likely. It really just depends. But yeah, sometimes you don't get your sword master, you stall out at like 5, 6, 7 points sometimes. Beautiful service for Margot, picking up Mega Liner, as it is affectionately called. And now they're set up for Mega Wet Liner. They just need one more spice. And that's probably going to come next round. They'll have access to a level 3. This is level 2. Level 3 conflict. They will be the first person to act. Hopefully, I'm sure they're hoping, with access in hand. And Lannister heads up the research station, drawing both his power cards yet again. What a boss. All right. Look, man. If you get both Steersman and Overthrow, I bet you just feel like the luckiest guy in the world. So I hope all you are out there just like really enjoying this, because I'm really enjoying commenting on it. And sometime along the way, he picked up a Smuggler's Haven. I didn't even see that because I was busy talking about other people are getting disconnected from the game, but he must have bought it then. Pretty massive. Pretty massive. All right, here's smuggling or shipping or whatever. Shipping for Carino. I think you got to go Emperor here and get your access, though you don't have access to privilege this round, which is unfortunate. In that case, I probably would not have played that ring. I would have probably played, but you have to, right? I guess you have to in order to get double bump. So, oof, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. Do you even do it now? Maybe you don't, because you don't have access. But maybe you will next round. You probably will next round. So bizarre. But he's thinking really hard here. I think this is a hard choice. He's pulling a spy to draw. Sees another desert. That's not great. Where do you go? Emperor. Okay. Up to 5 points for Shaddam. Not bad, not bad. Shaddam at 5. Margot at 5. Irulan sitting at 6 and 5 for Fade. So we're almost even here. We're almost even here. Things are about to get a little out of control, I think, for Irulan, but we're almost even otherwise. I like to see what Lanny has up his sleeve. Is there a path to 3 points this round? That's the question he's probably asking himself. Unfortunately, this combat doesn't help him. There's a desert power. Desert power is going to get him enough spice and then some for next round. And it looks like Margot is just going to forgo throwing anything in here. It's not worth it. That'd probably be overkill in terms of spice. Here is a Steersman again. Steersman. The water makes sense. Oh, what they're pausing. There's going to be a leverage played. Because this was forgotten in hand. As it is one of the worst intrigue cards in the game, it is often forgotten for a harvest. So get some extra Solari and get some harvest. Yeah, that's okay. Margot's falling behind, though. Margot is falling a bit behind. And Shishakli is going to be picked up by the Steersman. And that one, sadly, also will not trigger the Fremen bump. Just want to point out that a lot of people dislike this Weirding Woman card, but it's actually kind of nuts since that it does everything. It kind of, I mean, it doesn't do everything, but it does kind of like what you want to do. Blue, yellow, gets you some combat. So you have to lean combat when you play it, but that's what Eurolon tends to do a bit. And did we just see another? Oh no, we saw contract picked up. Deliver supplies. And in the high places played to Sardaukar. The restock. Gearing up for combat for the next round. Next round's going to be some sparks, I believe. Here is 2, 3, 4 to buy. And why would you pick... Oh, we're going to pick up some double agents. I guess double agents make some sense. Paracompass would be okay as well. But passing just doesn't want any of that. Dutiful service. Or not dutiful service. Her Imperial privilege. Excuse me. Imperial privilege for Lannister. Now in a commanding lead for the moment. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persuasion. Not quite enough, but 2 more actions. Two more actions. Yep. Lanny's pointing to getting the Weirding Woman with the signet ring. Okay. All right. I think it's fair. Everyone's had at least one take back or redo. Or that people are playing pretty fast and they should probably slow down. But yep, now he's up to 8. Good chance he wins this combat as well because he's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 daggers in hand, which is kind of nuts. And Rick hit up. Rick revealed. Rick is out with just 2 actions. Feels bad, man. The Emperor reveals going to pick up double agent? That doesn't seem good. You really need a double agent? I mean, maybe the access is fine, but it seems like way too late to bother the double agent. But, I mean, what do I know? Fascinating game. It's like a game of the haves and have-nots. Action is on Lannister now. He's got 2 unanswered actions. He can do whatever he wants. Here are 2 more intrigues. He finds a detonation and he finds a distraction. Those are fun cards. Those are fun cards. Back to Lanny. Is he going to try to draw here with a research station? Or is he going to try to get spice? He's not. He's just going to get water. It's an interesting choice. I mean, that is fine as well. He gets 2 alliances this round. Pretty much uncontested. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 daggers, which is going to get him first place here in this combat. He didn't even need to do it. He gets a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 persuasion, which is going to find a Chani. Hi, Chani. He gets a troop. Did he get his troop already? I cannot tell. They know what they're doing. Combat is going to go to Lannister uncontested here unless Rick wants to throw in. But I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Maybe he will. It's actually not too bad for him to win this combat, but it basically means he's out for next round. Can he get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, we cannot. He does not have enough. He is short by 3. Pardon me, by 2. All right, and that's going to put us up to 8 for Lannister, 5 for Rick. OMANT is sitting at 5 as well, and 5 for Margot for TTS PCM, who was out to a very commanding early lead. And that's one of the things that you need to kind of be careful about in this game, is that you get out to an early lead doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be continuing that momentum. This game is full of momentum, and now the momentum is with Lannister. And he hits both of his power cards yet again. Every single round, we hit Overthrow Steersman because he's been trashing so quickly. And he's only got 7. He's got 7 other cards in his deck, so that is quite amazing. The management this guy has of his deck. Action is now on Margot, and Margot is wishing they had their Swordmaster. Does not have access to even think about getting their Swordmaster this round, so that's off the table. Needs to figure out a way to get both Spice Must Flow and not get blocked at Highliner. Oh, I think that they definitely have a Highliner ready to go. Hilariously enough, Fade has access to Highliner, has a spy there, so could go later, but doesn't have a card that can get them there, so needs to draw and find it, or just needs to give that up. This is one they want, but if Lannister ends up winning this, I think the game is just over. Alright, it's going to be a smuggle, or a shipping, for a point. And some bucks. That seems reasonable. That's definitely reasonable. It is the Deep Desert for Lanny for a point. That is pretty good. That's going to get him to 9. So this game is going to end this round. 100% going to end. There's not much people can do about it. Well, I guess it could not end. It might not end. It could, if Rick takes over the BG Alliance and Lanny doesn't hit a Spice Must Flow, there's a chance it doesn't happen. But I think we're going to see a Steersman to High Council to stay ahead of Rick, and then yeah, that just might be all she wrote. Rick needs to commit here. Or not. I mean, he might be thinking that he can get... But I don't see how he's going to get extra an extra bump with Bene Gesserit at the moment. So I think he's just going to be thinking this through for the next couple actions. I think he's also giving up on Highliner. He's giving up on Highliner. He did find his yellow card, so he can definitely go desert. He could hit up like... Oh, the big problem is like Rick just does not have Swordmaster, so that is a huge problem. So he might be out of the game at this point. He's just locked on actions. He is really starved on actions. Well, like I was saying, you get the Swordmaster. It's almost like having 5 extra points, and we're gonna see people with 5 or 6 points, and the winner at like 11 or 12, most likely. OMANT with the best chance of getting second place, I think, at the moment, but needs to figure this out. It's definitely not a sure thing. Definitely a weird bug on, like, visual bug going on with this. I'll have to investigate what that is. Having a long think here. what is OMANT going to do? He's still in the game. He has not been kicked out accidentally. So his actions are pretty limited. He could get an intrigue. He could privilege. Actually, he can't privilege yet because he doesn't have another guy on the board. So he's kind of out of privilege range. He could Bene Gesserit, which is kind of bad here. I mean, maybe it's the best play. He does actually have a point in hand, which is pretty nice. The impress is less impressive, but I think that that's not the point at the moment. But Bene Gesserit gets you a potential point. I'm not exactly sure here. High Council? I mean, you're kind of out of it. You're kind of out of this combat. There's not much you can do. You could... yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. What's he looking to do here? What does Dutiful Service do? It challenges Rick, but not Lanny. No blues is really, really sad right here. And Rick locking up the what do you call it? The Bene Gesserit espionage space is very, very sad for him because there's no way to draw. I see. Maybe he's trying to draw with his spy. That's what he's trying to do. Okay, so he does hit access. He hits access with leadership. That's not that great, is it? It doesn't seem that great. Putting a spy on. Okay, so he's gonna get another look at another card. So leadership is not great, but he gets him 2 persuasion. He's put his spy over on the Bene Gesserit space, so he's looking to espionage with this wait, how did he get the spy? Wait. Oh yeah, of course. From the Emperor space. And he's looking at Bene Gesserit the second action. All right, so we see Guild Envoy. With Wetliner and Megaliner. So even though TTS PCM is looking like they're pretty starved on actions, they're going to hope that this gets them across the line. It is going to get them an extra 4 daggers with this backed by Chom in hand. And they could throw a worm in here, which is nice. This Desert Power could get them a lot of points. That's potentially pretty massive, actually. That's 2 points. That's 2 points. Lanny, just like a boss, is tossing away the spice trade. He's like, I'm not interested in that. Give me something else I can work with. Finds a tactical option. Interesting. Has 2 more actions because of the privilege. Pulling back the deliver supplies agent. Rick's pulling the trigger on depart for Arrakis, so he's finally departing. We're going to see it. He's not going to draw a card, but he's going to get 3 troops in there. He's going to challenge Yellow a little bit, or at least challenge Lanny. He's got some daggers in hand, so there's stuff that can happen. I don't know if it's going to be enough stuff, but there's stuff. It's interesting. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 8 in hand right now, so he could like dagger to Assembly Hall to get his extra point there. That gets him at least 1 point. That doesn't seem massive, but it could do something. Gonna be dagger. Oh. Where's he going here? High Council? High Council would be a huge block, I think. Well, maybe a light block. Okay, so he's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so he has a 9. Actually, he doesn't have 9. He has 8. No, he has 7. This Bene Gesserit operative is not operational, unfortunately. If he had one more spy, it would have been. I'm a little... Oh, I guess he still has access to it. Oh, man, that's just tough. He's going to have to go espionage to do it, or is he going to go secrets and draw? If he goes secrets and draw, I guess that's better. Yeah, because you're not going to get it back anyway, so that makes sense. Secrets and draw. And pardon me if I'm sniffling a little bit. I have a little bit of a cold that I've been battling through the last couple days. I'm doing my best to not do that on the mic. What is he thinking about here? Is my question. What is OMANT thinking about here? Is he thinking about taking this back? He's thinking about taking this back. Okay. He's not going to do it this way. He realizes that he does not have what he needs. Okay, hold on. Get your money back. What are you doing? Okay. Fix your money. Okay, so that's not happening apparently, and he needs to fix this, but leadership to accept contract. Finds research station and then reveals a spice refinery. 2, 3, 4. I don't know what he's doing here. I think this is a little bit of a little confusion. I think I could have seen a play to draw extra with the Bene Gesserit and get an extra intrigue, but I think the game might end this round. It's very possible. Holy moly. So we're going to see a detonation to put everything back in. Holy crap. So we're going to see Lanny at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He's going to be at 18 before he plays his tactical option. And looks like TTS has the 4, though, so he'll be able to win this combat. But it is going to be close. It is going to be close. Ah, I see. So Lanny is going to hit up... Is he going to go Sardaukar? Looks like he's going to hit Sardaukar to deploy... Oh, he's going to have more than that. He's going to have 23 plus 2. So he's 25. I miscounted. He's 25. I think that gets there. I think that wins it. I think the game is about to end. Rick reveals 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sadly. And this game has gone wrong for everybody except for Lannister. This is just a massacre. No one's been able to gain any traction once both of these 8-cost cards were bought, it feels like. And a little bit of negligence on the part of yellow and red to not get their Swordmaster in time, or to not prioritize that, really hurt. BGO is going to draw a card and put a spy down. Does that matter to anyone? I guess it could matter. That could matter. Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I like that. The spy can go to like Assembly Hall. Yeah, I like that. Or it could go to High Council. High Council. There you go. Wow, there it is. There's an extra point. So you got to put the spy on High Council, right? Okay, never mind. What do I know? What do I know? Shouldn't it be High Council? 2, 4, 6, 8? He's only got 8 persuasion. Oh no, he's done. Ah, that's why. That's why. He doesn't have enough. He didn't have an extra action. Lanny's going to take this combat down. Actually, it might be 23 instead of 25. Yeah. Okay, so 17. Okay, so he's throwing them in. I think he's doing this in the wrong order. I think he has to reveal. Okay. It doesn't matter. I think he's got this anyway, but he should have done it the other way. Waited to reveal, used Chani to bring back 2 people, and then detonated the rest in, right? Because that would make sure they're all in. Reveal for OMANT is going to see him pick up something random, which will not impact the game. Actually, you know what? This might be tricky here. This might be a little bit weird. Lanny might regret not doing it in that order. He might lose this combat. I think he is going to lose this combat. Spice must flow. That's okay though. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's gonna win the He's gonna win the old-fashioned way. Wait, how did that work? Okay, I see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, he doesn't have Fremen Bond. Oh, he does have Fremen Bond. He has Fremen Bond. He's fine. I think Oman's just double checking him. Yep, I think that's going to do it. TTS PCM is going to play this to win this combat. 4. And Lenny's not going to play anything because it's not going to matter. Rick is going to play a bunch of stuff. Which... Is this going to matter? It's not. It's not going to be enough. And that is... Oh, he's going to take it down, actually. He just, like, took out that... took it all out at the end. So Rick gets 2 points here. Gonna go up to second. Somehow manages second place. Wow, what in the world? That was not good. That did not make any sense. I think that's supposed to be there. At 8 points, excuse me. Lanny sitting at 10 after this combat, revealing endgames. So Chris Knife is going to get a point for OMANT, and that is going to do it. So we're going to end up seeing Lanny take first place, Rick in second, somehow with 8. It's going to be really disappointed with his performance here, I think. OMANT with 6. No, I'm sorry. TTS with... Wait, we have to resolve this. Yeah, TTS with second place or third place. Excuse me, with tiebreakers. We tell them to get rewards. And fourth place is OMANT with 6 points. So, wow, what a game! What a game! I mean, we really just saw the power of those 8-point card or those 8 persuasion cards just take over, and the ability for Irulan to take these things out of nowhere. Let's go talk to the group. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Lanny expended all his luck in this one game for the end of the tournament.
A lot of good stuff going on this game, man. A lot of good stuff.
I mean, it's pretty average stuff, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, usually you get all the cards. This time you only got 2 of all the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to chop everything down too.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Well done, Lanny. I mean,
I was trying to end it last round, but I got cut on the location I was trying to go to. I forgot which one, but I was trying to end it the round before.
So I was wondering, this isn't going to matter for the standings, but why didn't you detonate after revealing Chani?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. I mean, you
could. Oh, I didn't even care at that point.
Well, yeah, it could have mattered. It could have somehow mattered. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it didn't matter.
Because for me, I guess it was like Rick didn't have anything, and if he did have something, then he would have to expend it to win the combat anyway. So either he has the swords to win the combat and doesn't have anything extra, or he does and he doesn't win the combat. So that's the way I saw it.
Fair point. Yeah. Rick, second place. Congratulations. It seems like you were maybe it wasn't going the way you wanted it to, for sure.
No, it definitely wasn't. I think I was in a very solid position for like most of the game, right? Like, it's just definitely missing Spice of Slow sucked here. My hand was god awful this round. Like the start of my was literally this was all my access. Drew triple faction.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. Also, I mean, you really got cut out of the Swordmaster race this game. How did that happen? Tell me about it.
I forgot espionage costs you 1 spice.
Oh, and then you're like, I gotta go hit the refinery for an extra 4, and you're like, oh wait, is that what happened?
No, it was I was like, no, I just like dodged it. I was like thinking of probably like leeching off of this for a certain point, but like didn't this guy cut me off of that
As
plan.
Zach mentioned, I thought it was pretty odd that nobody tried to cut me off of refinery when I had that contract like that.
To
Yeah.
be honest, at that point, that was kind of my job, and I kind of failed to do that. So I'll
Yeah,
take
it
the
was
blame for that.
definitely your because like you saw my hand after that, right? It was faction in yellow. That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of thought back about it, and I was like, oh
yeah,
man,
because that led
I
to
do
all
that.
the good things that happened to me that
Yep.
game. I felt.
Yep. He wouldn't have gotten steersman. He still had overthrow, right? He wouldn't gotten
Yeah,
steersman that round.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yep. And like that's what like had you done all that stuff, right? Like I mean I
I
was
don't know
positioning
about that,
myself
man.
well.
Because like at that time, like because of her, I basically cut out my deck to like very. I could get any amount of persuasion I wanted at that point. So
Yeah, but
unless you got in front of it,
very next round,
Let,
I think he would have gotten
No, but
sorry.
I
let's.
had 8. I had that round when the round when you bought Steersman, I was sitting on 8.
Yeah, he had enough. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
But
it would have been
let's
really.
talk about drawing overthrow and steersman every single round. How did you manage that, and who did you pay for it?
I paid Rick. I told him how to win every game, and I'm going to tell everyone how to do it now. So you just host, put buy access at the top, go to Assembly Hall, and you'll get buy access. That's how you win this game. So I told him that tip and trick. Unfortunately, he didn't apply it this game, so fortunately for him.
He was not hosting. He was not hosting.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, look, no. You know how you win the game? Don't get fucked by this guy, man's luck.
Honestly, I felt more of like it was just the lack of blocks. Like for example, not just the spice refinery one, but when I went to put the spy here, nobody went to intercept that too. That should have been pretty telling, in my opinion.
Yeah, I figure as much, but the issue with me doing anything right, like I'm not in the position to do anything right. I'm depending on these two to do like stuff against you.
I think it's just like that's the thing though. Everyone kicks the ball down the court, and I think that's where the biggest downfall for most players in Uprising is. In Immortality, you can just ignore and do your own thing. But the moment you ignore one obvious thing and just go, it's your job, and nobody does their job, that's everyone who gets screwed at the table. And I think this
Yeah,
this
that's a good
basically
point.
exemplified it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, we
what
didn't
I
team up.
saw
We didn't
this.
say like how can we stop him and stuff and
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, because I felt like everybody could have done that one. Like, well, Spice Refiner is one thing, but for sure everyone could have done that one.
Yeah.
TTS, tell me a little bit about how this game went for you. I know it seemed like you went out to a pretty steady lead here. You looked like the clear favorite from round 3 on until about, I'd say as soon as both the 8s were bought and we saw like the engine churn. But how did you see it from your perspective?
I got off to a really good start, and to be honest, I think at some point I should have broken the wall, and that really cost me, especially at that point. Maybe if I went on double worms, it would have been a different story. But aside from that, yeah, some mistakes being made and just learning the game. Maybe I should have went Spice Refinery or actually take the contract so we wouldn't get double rewards and stuff. But aside from that, yeah, it was a really pleasant game, and I had a lot of resources. I just couldn't use them all.
Dude, if you broken the wall
Yeah.
a lot earlier, I think I actually just straight up beat Lanny.
Actually, PCM, I have
Maybe.
one recommendation. So if you saw OMANT's deck, his is a pretty strong combat deck at times, and I had a lot of actions as well. I think you were involved in far too many combats. I think you should have picked and choose. Like you were in every single one of those fights, and you were constantly like the top contender to take the fights. But because you had no intrigues and because you didn't have a replenishment of troops, it made it very hard for you to win those fights. Especially if Omant went in when he was ready, or if I went in when I had a ton of actions to go on you. So I think,
Yeah.
just biding your time would have been better at that point. I think.
I think definitely
Yeah.
the lack of intrigues was a big tell for a lot of people. They're like, well, because Rick could just beat you that one combat, which was unfortunate, right? Because he had exactly the 3 sword combat Bene Gesserit card, whatever, and then that was a bit of a bummer. But I mean, like on the whole, like I thought that this deck was pretty strong. And you know, I think that the plays to keep people off of Siege Tabor, that's like kind of, I mean, I've seen that happen a lot. It's almost like the first generation of what we would always do when this game came out, is people would just block Siege Tabor. And I think that you kind of see like you get a lot of like water and you get a lot of potential to do worms, but then other people pick up in other areas, right? So it's a good strategy, but at one point you have to like abandon it. You can't keep going there because it doesn't give you enough.
And I think like you should have blowing up the wall would have helped you a lot, and I think honestly, had you blown up the wall, I think I'm able to strip an extra point out of this and actually beat Lanny somehow.
Actually, that was a good catch though. I didn't think that you'd catch that CJ with the detonation and Chani. That's a pretty good catch.
OMANT, definitely pretty tight, man. I know it sucks to lose on tiebreakers. I've had a pretty rough tournament. I've had a couple of bad showings, but you know,
to make one more VP of like Spice Must Flow or anything, and like couldn't find the line. Hopefully I don't see it on rematch.
Oh man, no, the last round was so rough. I was like, how are you gonna do anything? It's like double dagger, double convincing.
Like, alliance, maybe somehow can I get another spy down? What can I do? And try.
Right.
And in the end, it was like just going here and having a 1-6 chance to pull in high places and maybe get a spice flow.
Yeah, it's hard. It's tough, man. I mean, I think that was your out. I think you played that right. I was wondering what you were doing when you were going to High Council, and then I'm glad you took it back, because I was like, I don't think that's doing anything for you.
Honestly, I think what you could have done earlier to like prolong this game another round, give you like a fighting chance, cut Lanny off of Space and Guild Alliance.
Well, either way, when he changed his mind on Emperor and took the Fremen instead, that was also another out for him too.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You think it would have been?
Because you would have beat Rick. You would have beat Rick there.
Yeah. But I just intended on taking Emperor anyways. I thought like, okay, I can
but like you taking Emperor does not prolong the game. You taking spacing from Lanny will prolong the game like another round.
I thought maybe I need some more water or whatever. Like get the.
Well, it wouldn't have, because as CJ pointed out, if I wanted to, I could have done that. I just didn't bother.
With Steersman and Overthrow, I was like, what's the point in chasing any of your allies? Like, no.
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, actually, if Rick hadn't gone here, right here, the last round, I think you had a line to potentially take that alliance, but you had to draw really well, right? Yeah. But Rick went there, and then it cut you off of that doing that.
I wanted to go here, and then he was there, and I was like, fuck. Then I managed to put a spy down and go again.
I kept this contingency here just in case for you folks.
Yeah, I was mentioning that. I was like, well, Lanny could just, like, if Rick tries to chase... Yeah, I mean, Lanny just hits that. But actually, at one point, you dipped below.
Yeah, I think he could below for that, and I did because it looked like people were more concerned about grabbing their conflict or their Spice Must Flow. So I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I'm safe at this point. So
yeah.
I could have ended up stealing it, actually, funny enough, because I do have a second Emperor card that I didn't end up drawing.
But if you do that, you give up the combat, which isn't worth your time.
It's not worth my time. Like if this was maybe if this was like, let's say, what do you call?
Much like I could have went for the Fremen Alliance with this and that, but I was figuring, let's just guarantee that Spice Must Flow and just be on our way type of thing.
Well, I mean, Rick, if you had done that, the game would have gone an extra round somehow, right?
Yeah, but like I couldn't do it.
And then you were spent. Yeah, then you were completely spent.
You would have possibly been out of second place, which is
so many swords.
Yeah, good point.
Like there was this one conflict I really wanted to do, and then you were coming down with like, I don't know, 12 swords.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember I wanted to put in just one troop. I was like, damn, I'm exactly tied, so I just count with one more troop back in. So yeah, it's a nice one. Thanks for covering though, CJ.
Absolutely. No, that was a really fun game to cover, guys. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.